Hey, welcome to this training. What I want to cover today is how do you build a navigation that converts? We have tracked traffic on some very high profile sites. And across the board, one of the things that we saw was the impact that your navigation has on the customer experience and ultimately them turning from traffic into paying customers. And so if we haven't met yet, my name's Joshua. I started Capital Commerce. You might have known us as Streamline Retail. We went through that rebrand. There'll be a podcast episode coming out soon with that whole story. But we help brick and mortar retailers gain traction and really take the success of their storefront into an online experience. If you don't, my one shameless plug that I'll make, here will be the small pitch fest. Follow me at Retail Josh on Instagram. I share a ton of tips and tactics around how to grow online and occasional cute pictures of my kids. So let's talk about navigation. There are some mistakes that I see again and again. And so I want to cover the mistakes, and then I want to get into what do you do instead. So here are some big mistakes. One, we give away valuable real estate to the wrong things. That navigation bar is like the gold of your site. And when we're giving it to even just things like about, or something that really doesn't help the customer and guide them to the problem that you solve. Think about what you really do for your customer. A lot of times in store, we get that we do more than sell a product. We solve a problem. But online, we just sell products. And if we take a different approach and we say, no, our site can do something similar that our store does, then I think we're even going to rethink what we're putting in our navigation bar. We're going to make it more about the customer and less about us. The next mistake that I see is having a crowded navigation, wanting to put all of our categories up there, and it's confusing. It makes it hard for the customer to really understand where to go. And then on the flip side of that, having just too small of a navigation, having like home, shop, about, and directions. Well, that shop is literally your entire store. And think about the experience that we're guiding the customer through. And behind all of this is this idea that we teach all the time. And it's really going from the old retail, which is where we were all about our storefront. Everything was about the store, and we launched a site, and then we became a store that had a website, and a store that had an Instagram, and a store that had social media accounts. And the problem here is the problem was only solved in the store. We didn't really help our customer everywhere. We helped them in one place. And what we're seeing is successful retailers now are going into the new retail. And that's where we see ourselves as a brand, and a brand that can solve the same problem we do in store. We can do that everywhere. And so we become a brand that has an online experience, a brand that has an in-store experience, a brand that has a social media experience. But no matter where people engage you, you are capable of helping them and solving their problem. And so with navigation, what I like to do is think about the types of people that visit a storefront, the type of people that visit a site. They're pretty similar. You know, you have some people that are coming and looking for a specific product. They are looking for this shirt in a size XL in this exact color. Then you have people that are looking for a solution. They don't know exactly what they want, but they want something. They don't want this shirt. They just want something to wear to this event coming up. And then you have browsing traffic. These are bored people. They clicked on your link on their phone. They just walked into your store. They probably spend a little too much time at the front counter. And when we are building out a site experience, we really want to think about the ways that all of these people shop. You know, you have product-based people. They're coming and they're searching through your navigation, and they're using your search bar. Solution-based people, they're really using your navigation. And there's some cool things that we can do that we're going to get to. And then browsers, that's just having a really good site experience, and your navigation fuels that too. And so there are three ways that you can build your navigation. You can do what most people do and go more category-based. You can go solution-based, not necessarily around categories, but around the problem that you solve, or a hybrid approach. So category-based, this is mapping out your navigation purely based on categories. And a lot of people shop this way, so it makes sense that we would do this. The con of this is a lot of times it doesn't help the customer fully solve their problem. If you are amazing stylists and you're amazing at putting together outfits and curating a collection and you merchandise it in your store, but online we become our own stylist. We have to click on tops and select a top and bottoms and select a bottom and hope they work together. And we don't really get to do that through a category-based navigation. A solution-based navigation, these are things that are like, wedding guest dresses, cocktail dresses, things around occasions. The cool thing here is that we get to give a more holistic solution based on what they're shopping for. The hard part here is sometimes you're like, I don't know if it's a wedding guest dress or what kind of dress it is. I just know that I like long dresses. That's what your customer might be thinking. And so what we love to see is a hybrid approach, which is using mega menus. Those are the bigger drop downs where we can offer both, where we could have shopping by category, shopping by curated collection, maybe shopping by brand, putting these things in a menu that makes it easy to navigate. So where do you start in building this? The category one is a little bit easier. We can picture that. It doesn't have to be the same as your point of sale, but we all get tops, bottoms, dresses, or whatever kind of business you're in. So the place that I love to start is to think through the kind of questions you ask in store. Someone walks in, you're going to be like, hey, what brings you in today? Well, if they say they're looking for a dress, you're not just going to hand them 4 dresses and say, here you go, here's our 4 newest dresses. You're probably going to ask a question. Oh, what for? Well, that would tell us that if dresses are a big deal for our brand, that we are going to have our category of dresses, but we might have dresses by occasion or dresses by style. And I love to think about this as merchandising. That's another big piece of this, that we merchandise our store and we merchandise our site. And so think through the way that you're merchandising certain areas in your store. Is it based on curated collections or is it purely based on category? Do you kind of have a vibe in different parts of your storefront? Well, we can do the same thing online just by putting a name to it. And so where do you start? Well, think about the way that the 3 types of traffic would search through your site. That may mean having a clothing drop-down that has your biggest categories, your biggest styles, and your biggest brands. Because that's going to help people that are on a product-based search, solution-based search. That's going to be curated collections that guide them to more holistic solutions where you have tops, bottoms, dresses, but it all kind of fits a certain vibe. And then you have browsers. That's where curated collections can be great because they want to see the things that you're putting together. And I'll be honest, like your staff and team capacity is a massive part of this. So just an example here, instead of having tops, tanks, tees, here we're really pulling it into something that has category-based and then solution-based pieces. And so the good news here is you don't have to do this one time and never touch it again. This is something that evolves. It's merchandising. We merchandise our store all the time. Are we merchandising our site? So I hope that this is valuable for you. I hope that this is helpful in thinking through how you can do your navigation. If you are a brick and mortar retailer and you want help, you want really to take your e-commerce experience, you want to finally gain traction online, I'd be glad to connect. We do these free calls. You can book them at madebycapital.com/schedule. These are super valuable for successful brick and mortar retailers that want to take the success of the storefront online, but building out an incredible online experience and then a feasible plan in place to grow, to increase traffic and have people coming back. Obviously, navigation is a big part of that, but it's just a part. So hope this is helpful for you. Thanks for watching and for being a part of our world, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.